Welcome to the Lessons Learned for Vets podcast page. My name is Norris, and I created this show for you. I want this show to serve as a source of advice and guidance as you navigate the military transition path. I want you to know that you're not alone with what you're going through, and I want you to know that there is only one right way to transition out of the military, and that is the way that you choose to do it. We're just here to help smooth the path ahead of you and advise you about any bumps in the road that you might come across. So if you enjoy this video, please give us a like, subscribe to our page, and I encourage you to go to your favorite podcast provider and listen to the full episode of this show. You can also visit our website at www.ll4forvets.com. I promise you will get some great information. Hey there, it's Norris. I'm here to talk to you about career fair and networking event success strategies. So if you haven't listened yet, head to your favorite podcast provider and check out the full episode of the before, during, and after the event strategies I shared with you on the podcast episode. And also, I walked you through how to kind of start to prepare that self-introduction so that you're really striking up a productive conversation with those recruiters at those events. So now I want to go through some of the most common career fair mistakes. So this is, again, more related to, some of them are more related to that in-person event, but really can apply to just about any event, whether it's networking, whether it's career fair, whether it's in person or online. So when you go into these events, the biggest mistake that you can make is to go in completely unfocused and having no idea what you want to do. Going in with saying like, I don't know what I want to do, or I'll take anything, or I'm a jack of all trades. I can do whatever you ask of me. This is not going to be successful for you. Again, you go in unfocused and untargeted. You have no idea what to talk to that employer about your value. And so it's going to be a frustrating process for you, and they aren't going to know what to do with you, right? So when you walk up to an employer and say, hey, do you have any jobs for me? You're asking them to do work. And we don't want to ask that employer to do work for us. We want to come in and prepared and show them that we're going to make their life easier, not harder. All right. So don't go into these events, whether they're in person or virtual, dressed unprofessionally or too casually. I have seen people walking around in shorts and flip-flops at events. So we don't want to do that. We want to go and create that positive first impression. So we also want to go alone. So we don't want to bring children, spouses. I've seen people pushing baby strollers. I've seen people holding hands with their children or holding hands with their significant other at these events. And again, this is not how you would go to work. And so you want to attend these events by yourself and in a kind of career professionalism mode. All right. You don't want to go in there with unprepared. So we want to do our research. We want to know who we're talking to. We don't want to walk up to the company and say, so what do you do? If you don't know what they do, you can walk up and start a conversation using some of the methods that we talked about in the podcast episode to really ask them about their company culture and about what they're looking for in a candidate. But don't ever walk up and go, so what do you do? Never heard of you guys. That's not going to create a positive first impression. All right. So another thing I see people do, and again, it happens because employers put free stuff on their table, right? They're trying to lure you to come over. But I've seen people walk out of career fairs with 2 big shopping bags just full of every free thing they can get. And there's nothing wrong with, taking an extra stress ball or a back scratcher off their table or a pen, but I don't want you to just go in and kind of clear off all the free stuff off of every table. That's not going to be a good look for you. All right. So we don't want to go in asking questions about salary, about benefits, about paid time off. So we're going to get into that in just a second. It's like I covered in the podcast episode questions we want to ask. I'm also going to talk about questions we don't want to ask, okay? Don't go in eating, drinking, chewing gum. You would be amazed at the things I've seen. And again, just go in professional. I once went to a career fair where a gentleman was walking around with a parrot on his shoulder. It definitely got him attention. I'm just not sure that it was the kind of attention that they were looking for that day. And again, one of the absolute biggest mistakes in a career fair networking event is failing to collect contact information and build your network. So those are some of the most common mistakes. I just want to go through really quick some of the questions you don't want to ask in a career fair. I've covered a couple of them already. What does your company do, right? Do you have any job openings for me? We've already talked about those. We don't want to talk about what's your starting pay. We don't want to ask those questions. Remember, we let them bring that up to us. We talk about how we can add value to their company, not how they can help us. All right. Can you find a place for me in your company? Do you have any good giveaways? So do you promote from within when someone has that role? So these are all, again, when we're focused on ourselves too much, we don't come across with a good impression for that employer. So hopefully some of these common mistakes and don'ts will help you have better success at your next career fair or networking event. And be sure to check out the podcast for some more success tips. See you next time. Hey, thank you for watching the video today. Have you subscribed to our channel yet? Did you leave us a comment? Have you listened to the full episode of the podcast on your favorite podcast provider? We sure would appreciate it if you would do all of these things to support us today.